Happy Money Making Monday.
Money Making Monday. Hey,
It's a
y'all.
good day. A good day, a great day. Welcome and welcome back to another edition, another session of Money Making Mondays. My name is Quintaria Brunson. I'm a financial strategist that is so committed to making sure legacy plans, lifetime income, just generational wealth is very intentionally structured within our community and within our families. I own a strategy firm where we do just that. And every Monday, I hop on this magnificent call and we just break down for a few minutes aspects of some of those concepts. And I am joined by my wonderful partner. I'll let her introduce herself.
Hey, guys. I'm Mercedes Coates. I own Coatesway Financial, which is a full-scale financial services company where we focus on helping families and business owners to protect their income and assets. We show you how to create tax-free income, and we show you how to create tax-free guaranteed retirement income as well. Okay.
I mean, I like that guaranteed.
Guaranteed. I like guarantees, right?
Yes.
So very excited to be here. As you guys know, we start with a quote and we're going to dive right in from there.
Yes. Today's quote is from Confucius. It says, "Life is really simple, but we insist on making it complicated." Life is really simple, but we insist on making it complicated.
I agree.
So our topic today is the power of planning, why every family needs directives, wills, and trusts. Again, sounds simple, people complicate it, and I'm excited to dig in today to show people simple ways that you can handle these very important aspects of life, health, and all of that. Because what we don't want to do, and my family sadly has been in this situation, my extended family more so, is when all hell breaks loose, now we trying to figure out like what to do, or where the
a lot of families are like that,
and all of that. Personally, for my I serve as power of attorney for two different individuals within my family at this point. And the first was my mom that I was placed in that. And I was always kind of quasi in that position, and for several people in my family. But several years ago, it's been about 4 or 5 years ago, my mom got very sick, was hospitalized all of a sudden. And we didn't have anything in place. And I am in Maryland and she's in Tennessee. And the state of Tennessee tried to take custody of her, like it, and that was a wake-up call. I was like, oh heck no. Like but I learned a valuable lesson. I got my paperwork in order for that. And I have been very serious about letting people know my experience and the importance of having those things in place. One, just on a personal level, because if you don't tell people how you want to be handled when you're in a critical situation, or if you're incapacitated for some reason and unable to speak for yourself, you got to cross your fingers and hope that they're going to do what you want them to do. So personally, we owe it to our family members, to ourselves, to let people know what our wishes are. And then beyond that, I think before we actually hopped on, you said a cute little statement like you got to write it out or something, about if you want it, write it down or something like that. But
however what I said.
Yeah. However you quoted it, it's so true, like write the vision and make it plain. And in this situation, it is very important to make sure that we have these things in place. So health directives, share with our audience, what is a health directive?
Yeah, so a health directive is basically instructions on how you want your health care to be handled. That's what they are in general. It doesn't matter if you are single, married, solo and your spouse widow, you need healthcare directives, because if you want to, let's say, for example, be taken off of a tube, that
Yeah.
maybe they're keeping you on a ventilator. You don't want to be on a ventilator. You got to say that. Maybe,
Yeah. Or you do want to be on.
or you do want to be
Honey,
on, right? Like, try to save me,
thank
right?
you.
Put
Like,
that in, you got to
it's
put that in the
important
healthcare
either
directive.
way.
I was talking to my father some months back, and we were talking about living around those big what do you call those antennas, or like those
Uh,
stationary poles
like
with things
towers.
running the towers, right? So being a vet, in the military, one thing that he said is those things emanate a lot of power, a lot of radiation. So he says that the radiation is not good for you. So one thing that he said about healthcare directives is he doesn't want radiation treatment of any kind,
Mm.
because it's not good for your body. So if we didn't talk about that. That was something that we put into his will. We added it to it from that point. But again, the healthcare directive, how do you want your healthcare to be determined? Do you want
Yeah.
your
And
daughter,
who makes the
sister?
decision?
Who makes the
Because I have 3 adult daughters. Who decides what? And then who holds proxy and different things of that nature. Like,
Yeah,
that is all important. And if you're ever at a point that that decisions need to be made, like, it needs to be quick, decisive, like, yeah, like we don't want to play around when your health and your life possibly
yeah,
it could be in jeopardy. And another thing too that I'll say that I've been in situations with extended family where they passed away and there's no will, there's no insurance type stuff like that. You're
yeah,
already going through it, and then for me, I think that in situations where we can, in a calm, with it in our right minds, at the beach, or like in your office, but when your mind is clear and
yeah,
free and not stressed, making decisions and thinking through these, as opposed to, like I said, when it's chaotic, when people are in fear, and I don't want decisions made over me in fear and stress if it
yeah.
can be avoided. Like,
Exactly.
I would prefer to have decisions made. I'm a strategist, so I want
Mhm.
some thought out decisions, or at least, if quick decisions need to be made, people will at least know what my wishes are. So
Yeah.
healthcare directives, wills, and all of that,
Mhm.
I think they're oh so important. And the beautiful thing is they're not that complicated to
No.
put in place and to create. And in case we didn't tell you, of all the many things that we support when it comes to legacy planning, putting people in position and supporting with these initiatives are things that Mercedes and I both do as well.
Mhm.
So no excuses, no excuses. Yeah.
Yes, simply put, wills, living wills, healthcare directives, power of attorney, access to lawyers to, fight for you and your children. Those are the things that we work with, guys, because we are focused on fulfilling the whole family, and
Yeah.
putting you in position financially to prosper, right? In all things,
Yeah.
expected and unexpected. And,
Yeah.
and and one thing I wanted to add also is, a lot of us grew up around confusion, frustration, fighting. When someone passes away, and we've seen the fighting over the property, we've seen the
Mhm.
arguments among siblings and relatives and things like that. And when you put these things in place, family, it stops the majority of that. I won't say all of it, because someone's gonna fight anyway, right?
Yeah.
But it can now say that, hey, I actually, this is what I want, and I want so and so to take care of my final expenses or my final decisions, and this is where you're in control. And there's no argument about that if you actually
Yeah.
identify who's going to get what and who's going to be in charge of what. So I think that's important for us to be responsible to start putting those things in place.
Yeah. Years ago, when I started becoming familiar with trust, that was one of the aspects that I found so fascinating is that from the beyond, like depending, if you look at the great beyond, like the Lion King, like with the ancestors, like however you see when you transition from this life, like a trust allows you to still speak, and what you say, like it has to be played out,
Yep.
but and I found that so fascinating when I first started being exposed to trust and understanding the value of them. It has many great benefits, but the fact that I can a will is a beautiful thing and it's needed, but a will for the most part just kind of conveys your wishes, like it outlines how you want things distributed, right? But a trust is a tool that manages your assets, and it's also a great tax advantage as well too. But understanding how those things, how while I'm still here and my health may be, failing, or I am unable or unwilling even to give directions, the directives provide that. The wills let people know my intentions for my asset, and a trust baby allows me to still be strategic from the other side. I'm chilling with the ancestors,
and they avoid probate too.
Thank you.
You don't have to go through sometimes years of going to court back.
And a will does. Your will still has to go. And I tell people, because everyone has a right to set their financial portfolio up how they want. But when I'm giving consultations and advice on this, I tell people a will just is a suggestion of what you would like, because the court still has to finalize that. It still has to run through, like they can be contested and all that, but it's still better than nothing, right?
Yeah,
but a trust baby is locked and loaded, and you can give far more instructions and directives through your trust beyond the grave that could go on for a lifetime. So it avoids probate. It avoids another voice looking over your will and saying, we know she wrote that, but perhaps she meant this. A trust definitely protects you from that. And it, in terms of protecting children and things of that nature, one of the things, and not to get too far off topic, but I think is relevant, one of the things a mistake that I made, and a mistake that I have to educate my clients on when we're doing life insurance policies for their children, legacy plans, even life insurance policies for adults who still have children or care for children. You can put a minor as a beneficiary, but you're doing them a disservice. I remember having, when my daughters were minors, it was like, who your benefit, like boop, 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 like I put their 3 names, but by the grace of God, nothing happened, but they would have been hit up. The very reason why I had life insurance at that time, and I wanted to protect them. If something had happened to me, I didn't even have my paperwork set up correctly. But a trust allows you to still be able to care for minors and things of that nature. But that's why these conversations and these deep dives are so critical, because sometimes you don't know what you don't know, and you're trying to do the right thing. But like I say, even for myself, I won't even speak to anyone else. I wanted to do the right thing. I was very worried that as a single mother, if something happened to me, I didn't want my children showing up at somebody's doorstep like little orphan Annie. But lo and behold, they still would have. They would have had to wait until the oldest turned 18 to do anything. So we've got to have these conversations and put these things in place.
Yeah. I would just say, a call to action, guys, some actionable steps that you can take is, number one, identify who would be that person of contact for your children if you have dependents. Where would they go? Who would take them in, and identify that person and have a conversation with them. I think that's super important. Number two, get with myself or Quintaria to learn how, for a low premium, how you can put these things in place, where we leverage systems that have these all together in one. We leverage them for personal and for business. We want to share those things with you. And the last thing I would say, number 3, I think it's super important based on the topic you just brought up about life insurance. If you have your children solely as the beneficiary and they are under the age of 18, it is imperative that you add an adult. Because if something happens to you and those children are less than 18, that policy will not pay out until they're 18.
Yep.
It will not pay out till they're 18. I've had a client that's happened to, and I think the kid now, it's been about 7 years. Kids still not
Oh wow.
still hasn't gotten the money because they're not 18 yet. I think they're about
Yeah.
16 now. And guess what? The husband put the kids down, but not the wife. Wife's still here, but the money doesn't pay out because the kids are on.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter, guys. These are the things that we need to do. So those are 3 steps that you can do today to kind of make some changes and start to prepare yourself.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, y'all know we be giving great information. This is a good conversation. We never want to keep you long. You know how to reach us for one-on-ones. We would love to go deeper in a 15-minute consultation, but that's all for today. Like, we done told you, how to get it together and why these are necessary decisions that you can empower yourself to put these things in place so that your wishes can be followed and at least known, when the time comes, when the time comes, because at some point we're all going to need someone to support us in that area.
Exactly.
It's always a great time with you, Mercedes. I will see you all next Monday. Thank you all again. And we look forward to connecting with you on a consultation or at an event or something, whatever we got going on. Y'all have a great day.